Well, it's a good morning in England, would you believe? And it's a good evening in the studios of Brisbane, Australia. Naturally enough, it's t-shirt, long sleeve shirt, jumper, Hug boots. That's our type of weather today at a blimey 24 degrees, but it's really cold for us. So having said that,
don't rub it in.
Anyway, as you realise, we're back to the totem pole. Yeah, Jeff's obviously in the southern hemisphere, Andrena's in the northern hemisphere, and our guest is there in centre court in Wimbledon, would you believe? So I'll pass it over to Andrena.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, wherever today is the 4th of July, 2024. An amazing date on many levels, but anyway, we won't go down that route today. It's my great pleasure to have Althea Finch on the show. So welcome, Althea. It's lovely to see you again.
Hi, thank you so much, Andrena and Jeffrey. Thank you so much for having me on and have this opportunity to share what I know. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so I met you, it must have been about a couple of months ago now. I mean, time's going so fast. So you came to a PHA talk in Glastonbury that I happened to be able to come to. You gave a fascinating talk on your work as a pain-free specialist. And I know you're a founder of the PainFree Method, and you help people with chronic and long-term pain. And you've been a therapist for 30 years, so you certainly know what you're doing. And I know you've created a program, and I've had the privilege of working with you. I love what you're doing. So let's start at the very beginning. Where were you born, and what were the steps that have led you here today, doing all the wonderful things that you're doing?
Yeah, it's a good question because when I started to go online in my business, which was about 8 years ago, I was taught all this sort of marketing. What's your big why? Were you very sick? What was the original? What made you do all this? And what I've realized is that it's not just the work that I do. It's me. It's going back and back and back and back. I mean, I grew up in the countryside in the middle of England, Leicestershire, originally. And we moved to London when I was 6, so very young. And so I'm kind of a Londoner with country at my heart, really. Yeah. And I had some early difficult experiences when I was about 6, 7, 8, something like that. I was sexually abused. And I'm sorry to throw it in there, but it's actually...
Yeah, but it's a big part of life, isn't it? You know, it's a subject that's in this day and age, it's not to be pushed under the table or we don't talk about. It's about bringing it out into the open because it cannot go on anymore. But anyway, sorry about that. But
absolutely, thank you. Absolutely. And yeah, exactly, because as a little girl, I came from a military middle-class family where it's all about appearances, all about doing the right thing, behave right, be in the right circles and so on. But as a little girl, I had this difficult experiences over a number of years, and I was my take on it was that nobody's listening to me and nobody's helping me. So what do you do with that? What do you do with those thoughts and experiences as a little girl? I'm not an adult, I was a little girl. So I became a fighter. I became defensive. I became insular. I went inside. And, some of those things were really valuable getting into my adult life because I studied intensely and I didn't like people naturally because of those early experiences. I didn't like men and I was very detached and I went inside. So I became extremely analytical and observant of people intensely. And I guess this is just a natural progression of those early experiences. And there was no outlet. There was no way to say anything because I was just shut up and nobody would sort it out. Nobody would help me. My parents are great parents and I'm not blaming anybody at all. But as a little girl in those circumstances, I was left to it. And I think like many people, I guess. So so I started to grow up and be very analytical, and this was a sort of underlying of what is the PainFree Method. So on I went through life, and eventually I started to do hands-on body work, which was things like shiatsu, reflexology, Reiki, Chinese massage, kinesiology, Thai massage, all sorts of lovely things, all Eastern things, all holistic, all looking at the whole body, you know, the body, mind, soul, feelings, whatever, and the whole package. And so that was really amazing. I think, you know, because I deleted the touch in my life, somehow, you know, naturally as a human being, I think I crave that. I crave that connection to people. So in between little girl and studies up to my 20s, I was very analytical. I learned things like palmistry. I was very intensely acute about reading people, reading body language, facial analysis, and the nails, how to read the nails, and the ears. All, I mean, I was into everything, runes and astrology and all sorts of things, particularly palmistry. And what that gave me was, I was 13 when I started being a palmist, and wow. It gave me a beautiful connection, but detachment at the same time. You know, people lined up in queues, you know, to read my hand. And what it gave me is information about the soul and about who's inside, not the front. Because in my family, it was all about the front and behave right and dress right and all this sort of thing, you know. So there was no reality. And a lot of my friends at college I picked were people who were hard-working, grafting people. They weren't middle-class people. And I liked that because they told you as it was. They were truthful, I found, and said it as it is. And I liked that. Anyway, so analytical time through those 20s. And then as I got to 20s and studied and started to be a hands-on therapist, that took me into another world, you know, the intellect of the body and the understanding. I loved all that. But when I was about 30, I was studying all these things, and I got to my 30s and I was still that distance, hands off. I'm my own island kind of person, you know. I never shared anything and never shared what happened to me. And then everything cracked. And this is what I find. Life is so wonderful. Nature's so wonderful that you can't hide. You can't hide what's inside. You can't go extreme forever. Life will bring you back into balance. And what happened to me is in my 30s, I got dumped. As you do. And it was felt like the end of my life book. Hell, what was I supposed to do? I was supposed to marry a guy, have kids, and on we go. And you know, that was the rules. And then he dumped me, and I was like, now what? I was like completely cracked or something. And I was traveling at the time, traveled most of my 20s, and then I came back home and basically started again. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to function. I had some sort of emotional breakdown, and I had the rules of life and they didn't work. And now what do I do? And in my professional life, it was extraordinary. My senses completely opened up. So sometimes you got to unbuckle from what you know so that you can open and learn, I think. And what happened in my professional life, I was working in a clinic at the time, and I started to be ultra sensitive. I started to see through people, see inside their bodies, see inside their minds, see inside their lives, see past their past lives. And it was a journey into them. It was a journey of interest to connect with people. And I was just automatically drawn, and I heard spirit and all sorts of, it was just extraordinary. And I just flowed with it all, because what else was I? I didn't know I was out the limb in life. I remember the very first time I did this, I was doing shiatsu on this lady's back, and the first moment I put my hands on her, I suddenly saw an image of these robes unrolling, thick velvet, deep, rich green, red velvet robes flowing down to the floor. And then I saw her hands all covered with rings, and she was plonking on the piano. And that was kind of it. And I just looked around the room, and it was like Elizabethan time. And I saw her sort of rich, curly auburn hair. And anyway, so I did the treatment. And then this was the very first time that images had come to me. Right. And so many amazing things came. But I said to her, I was going to like, shall I say anything? I don't know, it sounds a bit mad. I thought, go on, say something. I said, do you like the piano? And she said, oh, I love the piano, but I can't play a note. I thought, yeah, go on. So I told her the story, and we just had an enjoyment of sharing whatever that was. And I think it was some kind of past layer of her life or something. But so many amazing things happened, you know. But, you know, still I had this analytical analyzing thing that, you know, people would come in the clinic and I would watch how they walk, and I could see like the hips aren't moving, and what's wrong there, and what's going on with you? Or I could see the look on somebody's face, and I could feel the feelings, and or they usually people come into the clinic and they wouldn't say I need healing, which most people don't. Most people say my neck hurts, or my shoulder hurts, or my back, or something more serious. And in my mind, I'm thinking that's just the start of the story. I'm like a detective, and that would be the beginning of the connection to you. The connection to you is a secret part of healing. And you can do all sorts of physical things. You can all do all sorts of good nutrition and running and good fresh air and all sorts of things. You can do lots of things to help yourself. Certainly loads of things can help. But unless you connect to you, it's game over. Nothing will change. You have to connect to you. And what I've been noticing in myself over these years of helping people, the more and more and more I help people, the more and more I get into this work, the more and more I notice about myself. It's like it's a hand-in-hand thing. It's a two-way street, that I can't help people unless I'm helping myself too. You know, totally. Becoming aware. It is, isn't it? It's a two-way street. And
what should I say?
What?
Yeah, definitely. I'll say a two-way street.
You know, I can't be the doing thing to you either. It's got to be a two-way street. I mean, I'd love to help everybody. I mean, I want to help everybody. You know, I had this massive epiphany when I got dumped and all this amazing stuff opened up. And what the key thing that I realized, I had this awakening, this epiphany moment that, oh my God, is that it? You've got to connect to you. You've got to connect to those thoughts that tick in you, that behavior that you are, those feelings that you have. You have to tune into that stuff. And that's where the healing is. I mean, one guy I took through my program, Martin, he said that it's like a journey into him, and that's where the healing is. And that's exactly how it is. So, you know, you can't fix anything. There's nothing to fix. You know, your body is expressing what's inside you. And if you fall over, or if you have illness, if you're unhappy, if it's this, if it's that, if you don't get on with your relations, if you're not happy with yourself or your life, if you have physical damage and operations, if you have any kind of physical condition, it's all just expressing what's inside. And that's the magic key of healing. That's the magic key of healing. It's the critical key. And so when I teach people, one of the main things, I mean, I teach people how to get rid of their problem, but it's not really a get rid of. It's more like a tuning into the person. That's what's really going on. Aligning with you, aligning with yourself, because pain is like an out of alignment thing. Something out of alignment somehow. Maybe you know, maybe you don't know. I mean, you know, I find that even myself, I'm gradually unraveling myself and noticing my behavior, or noticing the way that I speak, noticing what do I do. You know, it's all reflective. It can be for years back. You know, I'm just currently writing a book to share how to be pain-free. And I found it extraordinarily difficult I didn't think it was going to be this hard to write one damn book. It's like, why can't I just put the pen on the paper?
But is this your first one that you?
It is, because I want it to get out there to as many people as possible. We all know how to heal, but we've just forgotten. It's been blinkered out of us by.
Are we? I mean, we're not taught to sit quiet with ourselves. We're not taught to focus on our breathing. And, you know, when everything's going la, 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 la around us, it's like coming back to here and closing your eyes, put hand on heart, or start that breathing, you know, and it's like you say with the pain, the body is giving you messages, but we're not taught how to understand, or, you know, a lot of us aren't, and some are. What, you know, why have I got this? What, you know, what if it, you know, we look at all different things. Some people take different concoctions that make them worse. Some people take different things that make them better. And, you know, there's like, then you've got all your lovely herbs and things and oils, all the natural things. So, yeah, so we're not taught in any way, or we weren't anyway, I don't know about now, how to listen to your body, how to tune in and find your still point.
Absolutely. And that's a critical factor of healing, because you can't hear anything unless you're listening, you know, and things like meditation, stillness, mindful meditation, just sit in the garden 5 minutes. You know, and we're all susceptible to this. You're all susceptible to the hamster wheel. And I think that's what's been really great about this last 4 years, is that one good thing, massive thing came out of it. Everything just stopped. And we were all faced with our thoughts and feelings, and to think, what the hell's going on? You know, what's your life? What do we do? What are we doing this for? And that's a massive part of healing, to meditate, to be still, to stop a minute, and not necessarily to change if you don't want to, but to notice, to be like an observer of you. And it's incredibly revealing, and you can make different decisions from that. And you can think about, I mean, I've just been sick recently, and I've not been able to move and get out of bed. I've been really sick. And I thought, oh, now what?
yeah. Another layer.
Another layer with opportunity of healing. And also when we're sick, our bodies are so clever that it makes us stop and shut up and listen. If you don't listen, it'll make you. I've had so many people that come to me and they've got to the point. I mean, I specialize in long-term chronic pain. And by that time, they are in wheelchairs. They can't move. They're drugged up to here. They're looking at operations. They're in severe situations. And to me, ultimately, that means they've, by no fault of their own, perhaps they didn't know, but they've not been listening. And that body is screaming. Those alarms are now screaming. But what's so wonderful about healing is that it's always available as soon as you're ready. The nanosecond you're ready, healing is possible. It starts the moment you're ready, you know. But sometimes we go down these horrible routes. We go down mud roads. We fight things. We resist things. We deny things, deny ourselves or something. Maybe we've been through horrible experiences like I did, and it takes time to delicately unravel from that, because you know, you're in pain or suffering for reasons. Yes. And the degree to which you're suffering is the degree to which you're separated from your soul, from your center self. And there are reasons for that. It might be trauma. It might be difficult to go there. It might be questioning yourself. You know, it might be really challenging things. But when you're ready, what I've noticed, I mean, I'm not saying how old I am.
Yeah, you're young.
I'm young. I'm that age. And what I've noticed in life is that there's no force. You don't have to heal if you don't want to, but life kind of keeps nudging you and saying, well, do you want to now? And do you want to now? And are you ready now? And it can be really gentle and really subtle. I find that life challenges tend to be when we fight and resist. That's when life is really tough, because we're not in flow, we're fighting against some kind of flow of something. And that's when life will chuck it at us. It's equal to what we're doing. It's not all your fault. It's just the way that it is.
No, right.
Yeah, and you're right. We're not typically taught this stuff. You know, we're taught that you have a problem, you go to the doctor, and you have medication to suppress it, to make it go away. But it
didn't.
Well, it doesn't, does it?
Not with the doctors and drugs. No, they have their place.
Yes, they have their place. And sometimes they're exactly what we do need. I believe, we're all here for a purpose, and they're here for nothing as well. So sometimes operations and medication is what we need, but that's not healing. That's like helping us through a tricky time or severe moments, or stitching us up when we're bleeding or something. It's necessary.
And they want to cut pieces out all the time. And the thing is, they don't take the root out, do they? They take a slice off, but if there's something in further down, the root's still in, isn't there?
That's right. I just heard, I get so sad when people go down that route, but everyone's got their path, haven't they? But I feel so sad. I mean, I just heard recently this girl, she had all her colon taken out, large intestine, and part of her small intestine taken, 8 feet or something. And I thought, where's the lesson learnt here? Where's the lesson learned? Now she's got a colostomy bag. She's a young girl, 30-something, a colostomy bag for the rest of her life, and she had choices. But this is a massive part of why I share what I do, because I want to show people they have a choice, and just to contemplate it. Come and do a taster session with me. Come and look at the testimonials. Come and see what it's all about. If they don't know about how to be pain-free already, how to tune into you, how to listen to your symptoms, how to listen to what's going on with you, because all the information's inside you. And, you do really have a choice. But that girl's done now. She's not going to get that colon back. That's done. Yeah. And it hurts me, like I had a friend of mine who I dearly wanted to help, but he had cancer of the colon. And colon is about family. It's about instinctive feelings. It's about deep thought, deep memories, deep feelings, because that's a deep part of our bodies, isn't it? It's a deep place where we sort things out. We sort the food out on a deep level. It's the final sorting out in our bodies. So it's about instincts. It's about ancestors, about family and deep feeling. And he had colon cancer, and he had. When I spoke to him, one of the last things he said he's failed at life. And I was so sad because, he died shortly after. And, if you feel that you failed, your body will reflect you like a mirror. And he died shortly after. And it was such a lovely guy. And so sad, and when we go and get Western medical help, sometimes we need it. It's the right thing. But there's a point where you have to take your power back. If we don't take the power back, we give it all away. But you don't live outside your body, do you? You live inside your body. Your guts are in you. Your thoughts and feelings are in you. Your memories are in you. That's where healing happens. That's where it all takes place. It's within your body. It's not in the doctor's hands. And whoever you ask advice from, whether it's me or a doctor or a friend or anybody, they're always going to come from another perspective. They might have some advice that is right for you, and you'll know it by how you feel and how you feel about what you're learning from wherever you're getting information from. So that would be good stuff if it feels right for you. But ultimately, it's you do the healing. Your body heals all the time. So it's about tuning into that. And when these different things happen, illnesses and accidents and whatever, it's an opportunity for healing. It's nothing going wrong. It's an opportunity for healing. So you sort of have to rise above the reality of what you're dealing with and be like an observer of what you're experiencing, what's happening. What does this mean? What's this mean for me? Well, how am I feeling because of this? And what's it doing to me? And what's it stopping me doing? Now we're getting into the real meaning of why you're sick or unwell, and that's the start of the healing process.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, if we try to suppress it, continually suppress it, I mean, sometimes, as I keep saying, sometimes we need drugs. Drugs are the right thing. But if we continue past a certain peak time and we carry on trying to get rid of that pain or problem, it's just going to get louder. It's now you're not listening. Now you're trying to suppress it permanently, and that it'll never work. It'll come through your behavior. It'll come through as other conditions. now you not only do you have aching back, now you've got arthritis in your hands, now you've got headaches, now you can't sleep, now you're irritable, now you've got brain fog, now you've got to give up work. It goes on and on. The messages, I call them messages, get louder and louder and louder. Sorry, what
yeah, no, I was going to say I sent your info to a few different groups if anybody wants to ask any questions, and I see that there's a lady here called Maria, and she says she's trying to get in touch, looking at treatments. They sort symptoms out, not the cause, which we know. So she's had 28 years in pain and still plodding on without pills and tablets. So what would you, for somebody, obviously she's doing an alternative, but she's not got to the root of the pain.
Yeah, so the root of the pain's easy. It's not something we go looking for. So this is something that our minds love. Our minds thinks it's in control. Our minds thinks we've got to fix it and sort it out and understand it. But that's all thinking energy. That's not physical energy. You've got to come into the body. So what is it about plodding on? Where's plodding on in what's I missed her name?
Maria.
Sorry?
Maria,
where's still plodding on in you? And describe your symptoms. Describe your symptoms. The description, that how you describe your symptoms, will be describing the root cause as well. So how do your symptoms feel? Those will be the root causes. And so healing starts with noticing the message and understanding and connecting with the problem, noticing how it's making you feel, what it's doing to you, how it's affecting your life. So this is connecting, and this is the first stage of healing. Now that message is getting heard. Now you're really listening. And then the next level is to get to the root cause, otherwise it will continue. So describe it. And those descriptions will describe the root cause as well. And what comes up for you. Maybe sometimes people say, nothing. So it might be like a defense comes up or a protection, and that's okay. And sometimes people find that memories come up, or a particular person comes to mind, or a particular moment in their life comes to mind. And now you're starting to go to the root cause. And so it's a whole process of going through, like Martin said, healing is a journey into you. That's where the healing is. Healing is not a fixing of anything at all. There's nothing wrong. So when you have pain or problems, it's like man overboard in a ship. So that ship's not going to carry on saying, oh, we'll leave him there. He'll be all right. He'll find his own way back. So what happens? Boo, 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 boo. The man overboard. The ship stops and they come around and everybody says, where is he? I can see him, sir. Captain over here. So everybody stops. Everybody figures out how to get that man back on board. Throw him the dinghy thing and all. So you notice the problem, you take an action, and then you start to think. You think, what the hell happened there? How did you get overboard? What went on? That's down the line of understanding why you've got the problem in the first place and what's all that about. But the first action is notice the problem, notice the headache, and instead of trying to suppress that headache or whatever pain you've got, is to be with it, stay with it. That can be enough to make it go. That's simple. That's simple. So if you've got a shoulder ache, just feel it. Stay with it and stay with it and stay with it, and then stay with it some more. It will go. Try it out. It's magic. Our bodies are magic. When you know the right mechanisms, when you know how this stuff works, it's so simple. It's us that gets in the way. It's, oh, that's not going to work. And no, I've had this forever and I've got medication. I'm going to have withdrawal symptoms. And my doctor told me this and it's never going to go. And all this is chatter in the mind again. And none of it's real. Your body doesn't care about any of that. Your body just functions. Your body just functions. And, this is, as well as it just functions, your emotions and what you've lived through and everything you've been through and everything you think and everything you do every day, it's all expressed through the body, through your movement, through your behavior, through the way you do your hair, through the way that you choose the colors that you put on. We're so on show. It's incredible. You know, we think we can hide feelings and thoughts and things, but we really can't. You know,
No.
we're completely exposed, really, to those that see, if you care to see. And
Well, that's it. Because otherwise, there's a lot of people, you can help them so far, but you realise that they're happy to stay in their comfort zone, and they don't want to step out, and that's absolutely fine, because we've all got choices, and it, you know, if we can help, we can, and if we can't, we can't.
That's right. It's got to be a meeting. It's a two-way street. I mean, that's why I offer a free consultation, so we can have a chat, find out if we're a good match, and I'm talking the right language for you, because you're going to have to do the work. I can't do it for you. It's your body, it's your decision, it's your choices, and it's important that it is, because you're actually the captain of the ship. I'm just going to remind you, because you already know how to heal and how to do it, how to get back into a healing way if you want. And so many people have come along my way, and they're not ready and open. They're not allowing themselves to go there. I can't make you. I can only, you know, it's like, you know, I show you how to ride the bike, but you've got to get on it and give it a go and wobble and get the hang of it. You know, it's like learning anything. But I mean, this method is amazing. It's I pinged on it when I, you know, back when I was 30, and it's been going now for proven method for 24 years now, and it's blow you out the water stuff. I mean, I've opened up now for anybody use, from simple niggles and headaches all the way to serious chronic full on years, 30 years back pain, spinal problems, endometriosis, gut problems, all sorts of things, even cancer. And this method is an alignment method. That's why it's so effective. So I call it it's a thing you don't want. So it can be physical, it can be emotional stuff, it can be mental stuff, it can be past traumas stuff. Thing you don't want. If you don't want it, if you're not happy with yourself, with your life, if you've got chronic conditions, if you've got constant headaches, if you have insomnia or past traumas, thing you don't want, then this method can work for you. But it's not for everybody. You know, it has to make sense to somebody and feel right for somebody.
And you've got to be ready. You know, if you want to heal, you know, like we can all, you know, because I know I spoke to you, I can't remember about what, but anyway, but you've got to be ready and willing to heal and go down that road, haven't you? Because if you're not, you're wasting time and energy.
You are. And sometimes people can only go a certain point, and that's okay. You know, I've spent years and years and years gradually unbuckling from my traumas, and you can't push this stuff. It takes as long as it takes. But the method, I run a 90-day program for people who have long-term chronic pain and want to go through the process of pain to pain-free and learn how to do it. But it still takes as long as it takes to unbuckle from your stuff. But in 3 months, you're going to learn it really well and integrate it into your life and know what to do to keep the process happening. But, you know, if you've just got a little headache or something, or you want to learn how to do this stuff, I do a single call that I run once a month. I'm running one next week, actually, called the PainFree Experience. And it's just a little taster. And it's the 4 core actions that shift pain. So you can come on to that if you just want to learn the stuff and you want to know how to do it. It's that green one there. That's it, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. That's it. And I talk you through it. I give you a workbook to make the most of it. I show you how to get the most out of the call. So you can walk away with the 4 actions that shift pain and get things started. And that might be enough for you. I mean, I had Deborah who came to this call, and she looked at me when she came to it the first time. When she came to me originally, it was a year ago, and she looked at me like, "Oh, go on then." I don't suppose she thought her pain level was too high for me to even touch. That's the lady with the hat. That's Deborah, and there she is a year later, and she's still using what she learned from the single call a year later, and she had severe level of pain. She had special mattresses. She had high-level pain meds, like many people. And there she is a year later, still using the same method. For some people, their pain and problems are really stubborn and resistant, but you're still going to know what to do to go forward. So as long as you keep doing the actions and trust the process, and you walk away with, I give you a little sheet of 4 key videos to keep in mind, and how to do the actions, and you have a worksheet as well. So it's a really good call to come on to put a toe in the water and get started. So, you know, across the board, I hope for all budgets and all kind of conditions and situations. It's a miraculous method. I mean, I helped many. I like the big wow. I'm always going for the big wow. So I've got loads of people on the testimonials to show that they've very kindly shared their experience with the method. And I had one lady, Linda, who had progressively worse and worse back pain to the point that she couldn't move. She got rushed off to hospital, sent back a week later, full of meds, carers to her home. You know, I mean, this is a tough, able woman. Can you imagine? She can't move. She's on meds, carers doing her tea, and feeling like, what the hell is this? You know, what's her future? And she did the method with me, and the next day she was standing. She was depressed. She had all these walking things and implements to get to the loo and all that, you know. And next day she was walking. That's what I like to do. I like to give you the big wow. I like to give you results as quickly as possible, but it still takes a process to go through the unbuckling of why is she in pain in the first place.
Yeah,
and you know, there's the story behind that. You know, and you have to go through your stuff, otherwise it comes back, you know. So are you Andrena, you're exactly on it. You have to be ready. Are you ready to let go of your stuff? Are you ready for change? What does that look like for you? You know, are you ready to be pain-free? Is that really possible for you? What do you think? You know, what's your mindset? So these are all the kind of things I take people through in the program. You know, there are three main stage results as quickly as possible. Presumably you want to feel better soon, so that's the most important, the first step. And the next step is, how do you support that to happen? How do you make that happen? Root cause, which is a critical factor of healing. You must address the root cause, otherwise there's no reason to stop it returning. So that's all part of the root cause clearance. Mm-hmm. And then the third stage is bringing yourself back. You know, when you're suffering, you're not really your true self. And some people even say that they can't even remember what it's like to be pain-free. You know, who are they? Mm. So stage 3 is all about that. Coming back, putting yourself full and center, back in the driving seat. And I thoroughly recommend it.
Yeah.
No, you're feeling this from
amazing. Because a lot of people, their pain
when you're authentic to yourself.
From early childhood, you know, when they've been abused or whatever things, they've blocked that pain or that experience, and then, you know, you have to really go right back to that to heal that pain, don't you?
That's right. But you don't have to go digging around or figuring out or trying to find out what is this and what's that. That would be like some kind of psychotherapy. But what's lovely is your pain, your problems will point you to it. So not only when you say you've got a sore back or something, and you put your you connect to that sore back, not only are you connecting to the immediate discomfort, you're actually connecting to everything that created it, every moment in time, every feeling, every experience, every physical whatever that's created it. So all you have to do, what's so amazing, this is why this method is so effective, so powerful, because you just meet the need. You just meet the need, and then you help the body, you support the body to heal. But the body does the healing. The fact that you're in trouble, the fact that you're suffering, means that you're ready to heal. It means that it's like a spot bubbled up and it's ready to pop. You know, it's ready. It's done the done. You've done the done, whatever it's there for. So you don't have to go digging around. And actually that interferes with the healing process. You just meet the need. You just address it where it is. You stay present in the moment. You stay present in the moment with what is. And if you're suffering, you stay present with that suffering. You relax your body. You do things to help yourself. You eat well, you rest, you open the window, get some fresh air, you watch a funny movie, you try to help yourself and soothe yourself in the moment as best you can. It's not always easy, because if you've been suffering terribly, it must be really bad and really awful. Maybe all you can do is breathe, you know, but then maybe in a moment's later, maybe you can just open the window. Maybe you can take another deep breath. Maybe you can put some essential oils to help you. You know, things will change. Your body's always healing. It never gives up on you. Its number one purpose is to keep you well consistently. That's what your body does. It's always, always, always healing all the time. And when it needs your help, it'll let you know. You feel tired, you feel hungry, something's sore, you need to sit down. Your messages will tell you. Your messages will guide you. And
well, I tell you what, I'm always hungry.
Eat then.
I do. My sister can go till nearly tea time, but I get up, I got have my breakfast. I tried a little healthy shake drink that I got yesterday, and it was quite nice. And I said to Carol, well, we'll see if it fills me up. But you know, an hour later, I said, I got to make some toast before I go on the show. I can't sit here starving.
But you're a busy girl, aren't you? You've got high energy, it sounds like. And you're here, they're there, they're everywhere. You know, maybe you're just a high energy girl. You need it. I mean, you wouldn't get the messages if you didn't need it. And
I keep your weight down. So that's the main thing. Okay,
whatever's important to you, whatever's important. And there you go. But you're listening, and the important thing is, this is the doing thing we need to be. We don't need to fix anything. We don't need to find anything out. We don't need to understand anything even. It's not necessary to healing. But what you're doing is, you're doing the right doing. You're responding to the messages. You're responding to your needs. Now you're in a healing state.
Hey, I'm listening to you girls, and I just want to throw this at you. Obviously, all three of us speak English. Yeah. But as I'm listening to you, Althea, through the headphones, your inflection and your intonation and your soft resonance in your voice, it'd be very easy for someone from another country to get an emotional charge where they feel a feminine presence come over them, and they feel like they're getting mothered. I think that's the right word. It's like Florence Nightingale has turned up, you know, with the barley sugar and the chicken soup, and all of a sudden the walls come down and they start to become, I'm receiving the motherly fix here. And the next question is, does that mean that sometimes you find that the patient doesn't want to be healed because they've come to you and you're becoming the healer, the mother, the archetype that they are seeking, that they just want to draw on that emotional auric field that you have as a healer. And they don't want to be healed because they want to come and get the daily fix, or the weekly fix.
It's a good point. It's a good point that you make. And I make it quite clear when people come and work with me that I'm not your guru. I'm not the healer. I'm going to show you how to tune into your own healing, because I can't be in you all your life. When I just completed a time with another client, and he said he feels better when he's listening to me. And I said, I'm not going to always be there. So what is it about my voice that does it for you? And he says things like, it's calm. Okay, so where's calm in you? Where else in your life is calm? Who else makes you calm? Where is calm in you? So you have to find whatever it is you get from me, because you can't lean on me, because we're all individuals. We're all drops in the ocean. So you must find your own strength and character, because otherwise the healing can't happen. It's about tuning into you. And I do make that very clear at the beginning of the program, that I say, now when you leave me, when you leave me, you're going to need this and you're going to have that, and make sure you do this and that. And so you've got that forever now. And I mean, I set people up in the beginning of the program with something called, I call it a healing plan. And it's basically the pain-free method tailored to you. So all the way through the program, I say, right, put that in the plan, put this in right now, make sure you check it every day. And are you filling it up? And what's this, you know, so you're creating that book, which is your personal pain-free method tailored to you. It's got things that help you. It's got things I call power statements and things that help you, and all sorts of things in there. But your successes you've had, so it's full of you. And it's a good question, because we can add things to ourselves from people, or many, you know, forever, but it's still not you. You have to be coming from you, tuning into your own guidance, tuning into your own responses, and listening and responding like Andrena does. She's hungry, so she eats. So that's the mechanism of healing. You know, now you're in a mechanism of healing. So it's a very good point, and I do make a point of it to my clients. I said, you know, you don't need me. You just need to be reminded of the skill I can show you, but you've got it. You've got to be in the driving wheel. I can't ride the bike for you. You've got to get on and do it. I mean, lots of people say that I have a calm voice, which that's great since I'm a healer. You know, that seems to come across really well.
Yeah.
So that's been good.
You go, you know, because I know there are books out there. There's Louise Hay, Heal Your Body, and there's The Secret Language of Your Body, which I've always used. You know, it's one of my favorites, because for me, it's been right.
Is that Caroline Miss? Is that Caroline Miss?
No, Inner Seagull.
Ah.
Yeah, I got it in Australia years ago, and it's really good. Like, even to the fact that I think you could look up a split in your thumbnail and it would say some issue going on. And like, I remember looking years ago and thinking, oh my God, you know, the issue I had going on, but it was coming out in my thumbnail, if you like. That makes sense.
Yeah, completely. It does. It comes out everywhere.
Yeah.
It does. But, you know, these books are really great. And again, it's all information drawing into you. So what makes sense for you is the more important bit. You know, there are loads of amazing teachers out there, and information and ways to do different things and natural healing, whatever. But it really is dependent on you, what feels right for you and what works for you. Because lots of people have done lots of remedies and therapies and all sorts. But if it doesn't quite work for you, it's not that it's a bad thing necessarily, but it's not right for you perhaps. And you know, Louise Hay things, these are the kind of books that I originally read and influenced me enormously. They're good starters.
The Barometer of the Soul.
Yeah, that's another one. The
Barometer of the Soul. Barometer of the Soul.
Barometer of the Soul. Exactly. And you know, you are the one that ticks in there. And the difference of the pain-free method is that it comes from you. It's about utilizing who you are and what you are, and that's where the healing is. That's why it's so powerful. That's what makes a massive difference. It's tuning into yourself, and listening and responding to your needs is a critical factor of healing. But I was just going to. So these kind of books like Louise Hay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. But really ask yourself, that nail, how does it feel? What does it do to you? How does it affect you? Now you're getting really specific. Now you're listening to your messages, you know, or you don't even have to ask. You can just touch it and feel it and relax your body. And that can be enough to make the change around, you know. Or maybe there's deep story in there. Maybe there's a lot of stuff going on in there, and it'll come to your thoughts and feelings. So it's being present with you, really. And but yeah, so many wonderful things in the world, and definitely read up and explore, find what works for you, definitely. But always remember that you're in the middle of you, and you're the only one that really matters here. You know, if something feels right for you. I remember having a reflexology session years back, before I was training or anything. And I thought, oh, what's that? Load of rubbish. But she said to me, have you been abused? And I was, oh, no. And I was not even beginning to be ready to share anything. And I thought, oh, no, me? No.
Yeah.
You know, I was not ready to heal at all. But years later, I became a reflexology for 20 years. So you never know.
Hey, just
on.
changing the subject here. 2 weeks ago on a Saturday, I went to listen to an American journalist broadcaster called Tucker Carlson, and he struck a chord with me in the sense that he was up Mission Beach there, and he heard about the story about an Australian going swimming and got eaten by a shark, and the Australian said, "No, you shouldn't have been in there. You know, it's shark territory, you know." And it was like Australians were saying, "Mate, that's it. You're gone. You shouldn't have been there in the first place." And Tucker said, "Well, if it was in America, there'd be 20 bloody lawyers and they'd be looking for that shark to sue the shark." You know, so it's about taking responsibility. So the Australian vernacular was, no, the guy should have taken responsibility. That's shark territory. You know, he should have known that, you know. So whereas the American concept was, well, you don't take any responsibility. You've got to hand that responsibility to lawyers so they can get money for you, because that's the no win, no fair, and the lawyers can't survive if they don't have you having an injury. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to facilitating a perfect, healthy healing, is again taking personal responsibility and not releasing and handing it over. You just got to step up to the plate and say, okay, well, I've learned from that. Thank you very much, and move on.
Definitely. I mean, there are certainly so many things you can have to help yourself, and you can ask advice. You can have people help you. You can have massages all the time. You can ask for information. You can look things up. Definitely, endlessly. But ultimately, it's your responsibility. Definitely. I mean, I come across so many people who are just living off the meds, and if I dare suggest any natural ways, you know, they freak. Like, oh, natural? Oh, that's not tested, FDA approved. You know, I mean, it just depends where you are. I mean, I had a friend in the garden. We had a Barbie one day, and I was really excited because I'd grown wild strawberries in my garden for the first time. And I was like, wow, they all just came out. And this friend, we went to school together, so you know, no like and trust was all there or something. And I said, look, try this, and she was like, ooh. Haven't you just picked it from the garden? I said, yeah, this is great. And, oh, no thanks. And I just, that blew me away. I'm like, what? It's not packaged up and cellophaned in a supermarket
and sprayed.
Sprayed. You know, and to miss out that moment of joy. I mean, I love my garden. I sit there and watch all the bees, and the bees come right up to me, up to here, but you know, on the flowers, and I just have such joy and the leaves and the trees, and I got my chickens, and I sit there and just sit there. And what I've noticed is that, you know, this contemplation time, this sit, be still and just notice, is really, really valuable. It just fills the soul. It just gets you to breathe, and you're breathing all that lovely oxygen and all that beauty and the flowers and the bugs and the bees. You know, that's so important.
And it's being in the moment, isn't it, when you're watching that?
Yeah, being in the moment, and critical part of healing too. Healing happens in the moment, not yesterday or today. Don't have to figure anything out. Nothing's going wrong. There's nothing to fix. It is what it is. Now meet the need, you know? And that's where the PainFree Method comes in. You know, how do you do that? How do you connect to the problem in a way that it goes? How do you release the root cause? What's created it? How do you stop it returning? And that's what I take people through. And all of it's about tuning into you. All of it's about tuning into you, describing your problem, you know, and but yeah, absolutely, you have to be ready. And sometimes life forces you. And there was a guy who was a rugby player one day, came into the clinic, and he'd had his shoulder all bashed up, operated on. It was a mess, you know, he'd had a lot of damage with rugby. And it wasn't just the physical damage and accident and problems and pain he was having. So, you know, we sorted that out to reduce the pain. The body relaxed, and his arm lengthened 2 inches, and he was pleased about that. But He was broken. He was a broken man. He was a rugby player all his life, you know, spotted as a kid. All he knew was rugby, 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 rugby. He knew nothing else. And here he was, rugby was ended. That was the end of his rugby life. No possibility forward. And he was devastated. So now you've got a powerful emotion and depression. And that man, I don't know him afterwards, but he could be on antidepressants, on painkillers. No, maybe just painkillers to get through the worst of it, but then get off them and start tuning and listening. You know, that man also must have a lifetime of rugby experience and knowledge. He could use it in so many ways. You know, he could teach, he could show, you know, his life is not over. And the fact that you're sitting here, the fact that you're still here in this world tells me that your life's not over yet. You know, there's more for you. And people who come to me, they're often suicidal or feeling depressed or lost hope. And I know there's hope because they're sitting in front of me and they're still in this world. So even if they're suicidal, and it's okay, there's still hope. You know, it doesn't matter how bad it's got. And I treat people with 30-year back pain and people in wheelchairs even, and very severe conditions. One guy said he's going to marry me.
Yeah.
I said, okay, if you like. He said, Althea, if you get rid of my pain, I'll marry you. I was like, all right. And he came to me in, he had severe nerve damage in his hand from an operation, and it radiated. He had back damage as well, and it was from an operation, and he lived in severe nerve pain all the time, and he was taking 7 to 8 high-level pain meds every single day. And when he finished the program, he had 4 in 7 months, 4 total in 7 months. And he said, Althea, I won't marry you, but I love you.
Oh, there you go.
Then dumped again, eh?
Damn. I thought I was in there.
Hey,
That was funny.
I was looking at your shoulder and I was thinking, well, quite often people say, oh, you put your shoulder to the wheel or you got to shoulder the blame. So what aspect are we looking at when, and quite often the person will actually, without realizing, they give you the clues, isn't it? In the sense that
absolutely, we're so permeable, we're so expressive.
Yeah, like, you know, your pain in the bum or, you know, pain in the neck. Yeah, I can't stomach
absolutely.
that. Yeah, all those words.
Power of words.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Your body never lies. You know, I told you about my story that I couldn't speak, I couldn't share, and I was sort of behind the shadows all the time. But the information is always there to see all the time. And so, the way somebody walks, the sound of their voice, it tells you everything about them if you care to tune into that. And the posture and the colorings on the skin, everything, it shows you everything. You can't hide. Even if you want to. You know where we often
when I sit here, I'm like, am I sat like this or am I sat straight? Like, you know, I think, got to make sure.
Yeah, true. But I mean, the English, when they have come into Australia, they've got a reputation for whinging, you know, and so it's all about, oh, poor me, oh, the weather is shit, you know, and they really, their energy that they create is all about doom and gloom. You know, they manifest the weather, they manifest everything around them is based on the bubble of creation, and they haven't sort of woken up to the fact that let's come with a positive outlook and a positive conclusion. And that's the best part of healing, isn't it? Because you see the person in perfect health. You don't focus on the one aspect that does something wrong. You see the person as a whole, you know, holistically.
That's it. Exactly. And exactly. And just talking about manifesting, I developed this method to be for getting rid of pain and problems, but I started to explore, well, what else? If it's not a fixing thing, it's an alignment thing. So what else can I use it for? So I did a workshop on how to manifest anything, And I've used everything I teach. I've used to the hilt myself as well. So it's proven, tried and tested. And that's free on my website. If anybody wants to go and get that, it's on the free talks on my website. I've done loads of free talks. I've brought in all sorts of amazing specialists, nutritionists and sound therapists and all sorts of incredible people. And anyone can view those. They're on the website under free talks. And how to manifest anything. I've used this method to help people get rid of smoking, to stop alcoholism, and all sorts of things, anxiety. Yeah, that's David Charalambos, amazing guy. He's not a psychologist, but he's like a psychologist. The psychology of healing and sound therapy, also incredible people. Munaiki Nine Rights, they're wonderful people about aligning yourself and in life. You know, some incredible people. So those are all free to watch for anybody to see.
Yeah, and there's plenty of information on your website, isn't there, for people, little videos and all sorts of things.
Loads of things, and a free guide if they're interested to get healing. There's a free guide to get started. How to understand the messages of your body, how to tune into that, how to understand things correctly. Because if you come into this and you want to fix it and get rid of it, you're on the wrong wicket already. There's nothing to get rid of or fix. It's an out of alignment thing, you know. And how do you start to understand that? The free guide will start you off and get you started about how to understand the messages of your body, how to understand that split nail you had, or the aching back, or the headache, or whatever, and how to tune into that. Yeah, absolutely.
So when I messaged you the other day, I think, was it about the show or something, or you asked how my arm was, and I said it was fine. And I said I wasn't looking where I was going, and I wouldn't, because I stepped, and you said nothing. Shut up. Nothing happens by accident. So what would you say then? You know, like, because I know so many people have fallen and said they've broken this and broken that. Thankfully, you know, my wrist took the brunt, but it wasn't too bad, and it's healed, you know, quickly.
That's good.
So to me, like, I know I wasn't looking at, because I was busy looking at something there as I stepped onto the pavement. So I tripped over my not looking where I was going. So what would you say then for people like that are falling, that have had a fall?
Yeah, well, really, I'm listening to you. So what is it about not looking where you're going?
Being too busy watching something else, looking at something else.
Yeah, so what's all that about?
Yeah, and I was looking at something, because I've got sort of a mind. I love decluttering, and I can reorganize and sort and tidy and help people. Instead of saying, let's clear out all your rubbish and all that, is how can I help you resort and tidy? And I was looking at a window, and it was all messy, and I thought, gosh, if only they did this, how lovely it would look as you went past. So I was sort of focusing on that, and not where my feet were going.
Yeah. So there's something in that, you know. Why were you focused there and not your feet? Your feet are more important, because that gives you stability. And so meditate on it. You know, what is it about not looking where you're going? Listen to the words that you tell yourself.
And
totally. Looking at that instead of your feet. You know, what does that do to you? How does that make you feel? What's all that about? Have you done that before in your life? Not look where you're going.
Oh, more than likely.
I think you need to see a travel agent. Yeah, you got a free trip.
You know, so the more you tune in to listen to the words that you tell yourself, and notice what you do and how did it make you feel. And there's no accidents. You know, it is what it is. Life reflects exactly how we feel and what we think. Exactly, it's equal. It's absolutely equal. That's what's interesting, Jeffrey. You're saying about whinging POMs, or whatever you call us. So, and exactly the way you feel, the way you'll get. I remember I used to be a rep in Tenerife, a tour rep, and it was a really awful flight for everybody. It was 5 hours delayed with children and everything. They arrived, you know, early hours in the morning. Everyone was tired, but you know, new job, bright as a button. No, you know, all upbeat and bubbly. And we got on the coach, and one couple were there and one couple were there. And I said, "Oh, how did it go? How was the flight? You're right," and something like that. And at the very same moment, these one said, "No, it was not absolutely dreadful." And at this very same moment, they said, "Oh, yes, fine, thank you very much."
Yeah.
What? Same plane? You know, so perspective is critical. And if you find yourself in a bad mood and whinging and seeing everything doom and gloom, go and do something nice for yourself. Go and do, how can you make yourself feel better right now? Even if it's something being done at you or done to you by people or by, it's not your fault. You're the one experiencing it and you're the one feeling it. So what can you do to create, to feel better in yourself in that moment? Remove yourself from a situation.
Yeah. That
what can you do?
Sense, and instead of whinging on.
Yeah, and things will change. Things will change. And you know, what's your motto? What's your inner motto? My motto is anything's possible. So that's it. And if you feel like things are doom and gloom, you know, that our emotions can be very tricky creatures. It can really get us into sort of doom and gloom, and then of course your body will reflect that, and then life will reflect it more of it. Like attracts like. So if I'm in a bad mood or something, and it's really hanging around me, if I can't shift it, I'll just sit in the mud and just, okay, so it's got to be like this right now, and things will start shifting.
And you know,
it kind of like, yeah, sometimes you can't do anything. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Sometimes that boulder is rolling and you just got to wait. You know, if you're feeling in a crummy place and you're just in a bad place, you just got to be in there and be present. Try to make yourself comfortable as possible as you possibly can. And that's all you need to do. Time will change. Things will change. Things will change because it wasn't Einstein said the only constant is change. Things will change, and you know that for evidence from your life. You haven't always felt in a bad place. You know you've had good times in your life and good moments and good thoughts. So there's your evidence and proof to encourage you to just stay present, let that boulder roll. There was a lady called Esther Hicks.
Esther
you know,
and Jerry.
Abraham. What?
Esther and Jerry Hicks.
Conversation with
That's
God.
the one. That's right. And she said, they said, you know, if you're falling out the plane, don't worry, it'll be over in a minute.
Yeah. No, that's Neil. You're on about Neil Donald Walsh. Conversations with God is Neil Donald Walsh.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So Esther and Jerry Hicks.
Abraham,
yeah. So.
Yeah, sometimes we can't do a damn thing about anything, and you just got to let that boulder roll. You know, but you know it's going to be over soon, and do what you can to feel better at that moment. Maybe just breathe, maybe just curl up and whatever, maybe take medication. Surrender. You know, we're not God. We are whatever we are. We're expressions of lights. You know, we're parts of God or something, and we don't control everything. And that's a part of our ego, and trying to control. And that's a part of ourselves that tries to fix and get in there and sort things out or look for the root cause. There's nothing to look for. It's already here.
Yeah. But again, it's the old way of being taught things, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like we have to do something. We have to make something happen. No, you don't. It works perfectly fine. Thank you very much. That flower grows without it grows, but it needs your help. It needs you to plant it. It needs a good position. It needs water. It needs the right sunlight. It needs you to keep the weeds away. So in healing, you have to notice the problem, and then you have to help it. You have to eat good food, look after yourself, love yourself, care for yourself. Get some fresh air, you know, do things to help the situation. But the healing itself, your body already does it fine. Thank you very much. There's nothing to look for, figure out, understand why you're suffering. All that's completely unnecessary. It might be you like to understand. Maybe you've got a scientific mind or something. That's fine. But that doesn't do any healing. it's great to understand what your ism is. If you've got a itis or an ism or arthritis or whatever it is, if you want a label, that can be helpful, but it doesn't do any healing. And it might make you worried and might put you into a wobbly state or woe is me state. And that's dangerous because that your energy starts to grey. And then you're out of healing. You're not taking any responsibility. You're not doing any actions to get it well by no fault of your own. And what do you do instead? You stay present with it. The correct question is, what is it? And when you have a label of your thing, it's great to give you focus. Okay, now you know where to focus. You've got arthritis? Great. Now you know where to focus, wherever it is, You've got it in your wrist. Okay, now focus on it. Relax, soften into it, feel it, be with it, be patient. Be patient, give it the time it needs, and do things to help yourself. Those are the things we can do. Yeah, stop looking for things, be present. So is that helpful? Is it coming about?
Yeah, no, it's a completely different way of looking at things, and it's like within these times of changes, we're learning more and more. We're letting the old ways go and tuning more into alignment of who we are, and that we have everything within us. It's just you don't always know how to deal with those things. So there's just so much more out there.
Totally.
No, she's this generation's Bodicea, mate. She charges in, sorts it all out. Boom, boom.
What?
You're the modern day Bodicea. You charge in, get rid of it, move on. Off with the head. Blackout.
Off with the head. Move on and stop suffering. You don't have to be suffering. You want to stop suffering? Now start acting. Start doing actions that are pain-free.
Change the record.
Change the record. And you want to be pain-free? Fantastic. Now you're ready. You had enough of your symptoms? Perfect. Now you're ready. What do? Tune into your things. And if you want help with that, get in touch with me and I can show you how.
Well, I'll share your info with your free consultation and what have you again. So we'll put it out there. And for those that are ready, the information and help is there on the support.
So, free consultation, free guide. Thank you so much. I hope it helps somebody.
I'm sure it will. And it's, people listen to the podcast as well, because it goes out on all sorts of places. So people can tune in and listen. So thank you. That's been an absolute delight seeing you and having you on the show again, and love for your work and what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me both, and I really appreciate the space to be able to share with people, and hopefully it's given light and hope to people.
That's definitely right. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, that's the end of the show this week, and same time, same place next week. And thank you everybody for tuning in. And thank you, Althea.